Good morning. Hi. Good morning. I've chosen a rousing prelude for us, and it will be a lot better if you join in. I think the lyrics are already up. Do you like to stand and sing? If you're able, please do. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, la 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure, la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, la 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 la.
Good morning. For millennia, the Western Abenaki people have called this land home. They loved and cared for this land. We now have the privilege of gathering here as a religious community. Let us do so honoring this legacy of love and stewardship. I'm Sarah Franklin, your worship associate this morning. On behalf of the entire worship team, I'm happy to welcome all of you, both those in the sanctuary and those watching the live stream. I'm especially happy to welcome Reverend Simon Ruth DeVoil, who, as you can tell, is going to lead us through a rousing service today. We appreciate the fellowship and participation of all. For over 155 years, this church has been a sanctuary for those seeking spiritual sustenance as well as peace and justice in the world. Together with you, we continue on that path today. Please know that should you need to leave the sanctuary for any reason, you can continue to listen to and watch the service in the fireplace room downstairs. It's always a pleasure to have newcomers and guests join us for worship. If this is your first or second visit, you're invited to wave or stand at this time, just so that we can offer you a special welcome. Oh. Thank you. We are glad you are here. Now, we can all join in welcoming by taking a few moments to turn to our neighbors and share greetings. Good. Okay. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you for your enthusiastic friendliness. Immediately following the service, we'd love to have you all join us for coffee hour downstairs in the vestry. We hope that during coffee hour, newcomers will choose to fill out our welcome form at the hospitality table. It's pretty good to be part of such an engaged community, isn't it? There are many ways, in addition to enthusiastic Sunday morning greetings, to take part in the life of our community, so here are a few. Following today's service, join a conversation in the fireplace room led by UCM's lay pastoral care team about grief during the holidays. This will be a time to share how you experience seasonal grief and to discuss ways to honor loved ones lost. Coming up next Sunday, our annual all ages, no rehearsal Christmas pageant. All ages are welcome to come dressed as a shepherd, a wise person, or an angel, or to choose a costume when you arrive and join the fun. Also, please let Rowan know if you're willing to be the lead angel, star shepherd, or wisest wise person. All roles are non-gender specific. We also need a costume captain or two. So again, please let Rowan know if you can help with any of these roles. Now we have an impromptu news flash. I know we were all very glad to hear last week that the holiday fair was so successful, but we, I think, have a late-breaking update somewhere coming from Janet. Woo!
$96 and counting. People have said they're sending those checks in. So we'll see those checks in the near future.
Okay.
That's our number.
We're closing in on 12,000, everyone. Woo! Great work. Okay. I also wanted to mention that downstairs today you will see a display by the Climate Action Team. They have an array of books and sign-up sheets. So if you, like so many of us, are concerned about climate and you want to be part of the action team, they call themselves CAT. So you'll see the table only identified as CAT, but it's an acronym for the Climate Action Team, and a very active CAT it is. So I think you might want to join that. For additional announcements and ways to get involved, please read your e-news carefully. There are always surprises and important things there. And now, let's take a deep breath, make sure our cell phones are silenced, and enter more deeply into our time of worship with the prelude. Oh, I think instead of doing that, we'll have our opening words. And then we'll have the chalice lighting and affirmation. So, everybody's loose today, taking it as it comes. Simon's adapting.
Yes, I am. There's a great Scottish word, it means fankle, and my guitar's in a fankle. I do have a prelude that is a great way of introducing the introductory words. And this is a poem by David Densmore. He was inspired by some old trees in the Pacific Northwest where he used to live. And his singer wife, Susan Osborne, took his poem and set it into Vivaldi. And I've been told just to check whether the microphone's on. It is? Yes, great. Thank you for checking before I started singing. So I'd like you all to imagine, it's quite short, so imagine you're in your favorite grove of trees when I sing this. Great folly when the silence falls, like feathers drifting from black branches. The frozen earth lies dreaming of birth, under blankets so deep that whisper the secrets of snow. There is no time, there is no time, there is no time, there is no time. I leave the world of worried thought behind and dream. I raise my arms and forehead, join the simple praise of trees. How blessed we are to know this. Surrender and rest, dark winter's caress, the silent gift of peace. I leave the world of worried thought behind me and find the one who watches there inside me and brings this gift of peace. These opening words are from a UU minister called Stephanie Noble, and it's called In Celebration of the Winter Solstice, which is coming right up. Do not be afraid of the darkness. Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is the soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can stars shine across the vastness of space. Only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven in the dark, quiet hours. There is magic in the darkness. Do not be afraid. We are born of this magic. It fills our dreams that root, unravel, and reweave themselves into the shelter of the dark night. Because dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. It fills our soul, not with despair, but with promise. Dark is the gestation of our deep knowing self. Dark is the cave where we rest and renew our soul. We are born of the darkness, and each night we return to the deep, moist womb of our beginnings. Amen. Oh, actually, it's me. I invite you to sing with me. Now, this is a very mellow, thoughtful chant, so you might want to remain seated for this one. It's written by my friends, so you'll never have heard it before. It's called Into the Dark. And as always, you're welcome to get up and move if you've got small children and you know that they would prefer to move. I just like to be quite still when I sing this one. Into the dark room of night, we rest, we breathe, we watch. The mystery draws us inward as we wait for the light to return. Into the winter of earth, the seeds have fallen away. The roots in the ground reclaim their life, retreating to rest in the soil. Don't worry if you don't sing it right. Don't worry about that. Into the dark room of night, we rest, we breathe, we watch. The mystery draws us inward as we wait for the light to return. Into the winter of earth, the seeds have fallen away. The roots in the ground reclaim their life, retreating to rest in the soil. Into the dark of night, we rest, we breathe, we watch. The mystery draws us inward as we wait for the light to return. ground reclaim their life, retreating to rest in the soil. Sing it one more time. Into the dark night, we rest, we breathe, we watch. The mystery draws us inward as we wait for the light to return. Into the winter of earth, the seeds have fallen away. Their roots in the ground reclaim their soul, retreating to rest in the soil.
Let us now light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. This morning we have Rowan Van Ness helping us. I invite all of you at home to light a chalice too, if you have one handy. We light this flame, an enduring symbol of our collective commitment to lead with truth and compassion. Now let us join our voices in saying a few words of affirmation adapted from L. Griswold Williams. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant.
For our Time for All Ages today, we have a special guest who I would like to introduce at this time. Otis Loga is one of our own youth and a current high school senior at U32. Last summer, Otis was the first recipient of the Star Island Youth Scholarship established in memory of UCM member Lou Cherry. This scholarship supports our youth in attending a week-long UU summer camp at Star Island off the coast of New Hampshire. We have invited Otis to share a little bit about his experience with us this morning.
This past summer, was the second week of August. I went to a small island off of the coast of New Hampshire called Star Island. And yes, that top picture, yes, my butt is in a butt can. It was my third time going to the island, but my first time being part of a conference. I've been a lot of times with my dad just for day trips in the past. It was a whole new experience getting to go inside a hotel, sleeping, and spending time a whole week on the island. I discovered a whole new life and checked out all of the new buildings on the island. I was part of the YES conference, which stands for Youth Empowerment and Spirituality. This was a group of about 30 people, ages 16 to 22. Next slide. Every day we started out with breakfast and morning meeting where we talked to each other and to catch up from the day and to go over the schedule for what was going on that day. Every day we had 2 workshops, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And every night we had themed dinners, and it was just a lot of fun just hanging out with people. I would have to say my favorite part of the week was the talent show, where we all stood up and did our own sing songs and showed off just talents that weird talents that we had. And yeah, next slide. My main takeaways was being with a bunch of new people and just making new connections. I love being around people and just being with people. And we played a softball game against the Pelicans, which is the people that work at Star Island. And of course we kept the tradition alive and kept a losing streak to go one more year. It was like 7-0. Yeah, every year we lose, so kept the tradition alive. Next slide. And yeah, it's a beautiful place, and it was really fun just watching sunrise. One night we stayed up all night. The last night we stayed up all night with everybody, and played around and be with people, and then we all went out to East Rock, which is a big rock on the eastern side, and just all cuddled and watched the sunrise. And we had themed dinners. Yeah. And look in the weekly e-news, there will be a link to a Google photo with about 500-600 pictures that everybody took to add in. Everybody took. And yeah, so look, and if you want to scroll through some more pictures that do not fit on little bitty slides, feel free. Next slide, I think. One more? No? Okay. I will come back, and I hope more people will come join me next year, next summer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Otis. And as Otis shared, this was his time going on with the scholarship to this Star Island week, and that will be an opportunity again for another youth to apply, or several youth to apply, and at least one to get picked to go next summer. So be thinking about whether this is something you might want to do, whether it's this coming summer or as you get older. And as he said, it's also a place that people can go for day trips. There's adult conferences, all kinds of things happen at Star Island, and it's a really special place for a lot of people. I want to make one quick announcement before I transition us, and that is for any middle schoolers who are here today, we're going to have a gathering in the small classroom after the service from 11:30 to 12:30 with cookie decorating and planning a next service or art project. So I invite any middle schoolers to join us for that. And at this time, I would like to invite the congregation to join us in the children's parting song, As You Go. We have the children's chapel for all ages, and the small classroom is set up especially for our preschoolers and kindergartners.
Hold you
Generosity is a spiritual practice central to the well-being of our church community. It's a blessing and a privilege to support the shared values of this congregation with the generosity of our collective resources. Each month through the UCM Community Pouch Program, we share half our cash collection with a church fund or community organization aligned with our values. This month's Community Pouch recipient is People's Health and Wellness Clinic, which was founded in 1994 with the mission of delivering health care to residents of Central Vermont who are uninsured and underinsured. All services are free to patients and are provided by a roster of more than 40 volunteer doctors and nurses. Happily, Daniel Barstow, Executive Director of the clinic, is here this morning. Oops, sorry, Daniel, to tell us a little more about it. Daniel?
Thank you very much. How's that volume? Good. Okay, great. Thanks, Sarah, for the introduction. As she said, my name is Dan Barlow. I'm the Executive Director of the People's Health and Wellness Clinic, and we are a small free healthcare clinic located in downtown Berry City, right behind City Hall Park and right on the bus line. We've been around for almost 30 years, and the clinic was founded by a local group of doctors and nurses and other medical professionals concerned that the uninsured here in Central Vermont had no place to go for healthcare. So for almost 30 years, we have been working to bring healthcare services, both primary care and dental hygiene as well, to the underserved and vulnerable people here in Central Vermont. I'm often asked who exactly are the patients at People's Health and Wellness Clinic. And I think there's probably, folks in the congregation today who at one time in their life, or maybe even now, come to the clinic for services. Our patients are your friends, your family, your neighbors, maybe someone you buy a cup of coffee from each day downtown. Really, people from all walks of life come to the clinic for services. For the most part, the vast majority of our patients are some of the most vulnerable people here in our community in Central Vermont. These are folks who often don't know where they're staying that night. They don't know where their next meal might come from. They often haven't seen a family doctor in years, maybe a decade or more. Your support of our clinic goes to help these folks every day. I'm also often asked what services are available at the People's Clinic. We do primary health care, so we usually have a family doctor who comes in to volunteer, might see 5 or 6 patients over the day. But really a growing part of our work at the People's Clinic is dental hygiene. I think folks know that for some odd reason we treat our teeth differently than the rest of the body when it comes to insurance, and many people have no access to see a dentist. So about 5 years ago, we started a dental hygiene program. We have a dental hygienist on staff who comes in 3 days a week to see patients. And those are some of the most moving stories, is the folks who come in to see our dental hygienist. We often have people who haven't seen a dentist in their adult life. And they come to us worried that their mouth is ruined, that they're hopeless. And often they come in and they find that they just need a cleaning, maybe a couple cavities filled, and that they're fine. So we really see what we do as bringing hope to a lot of people here in Central Vermont. Our work would not be possible without that roster of about 40 volunteer doctors and nurses who come in once or twice a month to see patients. Some of them are retired, some of them are still working. They like to keep their license active. I often hear from our volunteers that they feel privileged by a lifetime in medicine. and they've been successful in their careers, and that this is their way of giving back after retirement or after their shift at a local hospital, for example. So I really appreciate, it's a real honor for me to be here and to speak to the congregation, tell you about the work of the People's Health and Wellness Clinic. Really, truly appreciate the support of this congregation. In fact, working with the faith communities here in Central Vermont is one of the most pleasing aspects of my job at People's Health and Wellness Clinic. And I will be around later on this morning for coffee, and more than happy to talk to anyone who has questions about what we do, how to support us either financially, or we are always looking for more volunteers, both doctors, nurses, counselors, psychologists, or even someone to run the front office and greet patients as they come in. So really eager to connect with all of you and tell you about the work of the People's Clinic. So thank you again for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel. Half of our cash offerings this month will go to our pouch recipient. The other half will directly support the mission and ministry of this congregation. If you wish to designate your entire offering to the community pouch, please indicate that with a note attached to your cash or in the memo line or your check. You can also make a financial contribution by donating online. Green velvet offering pouches are found at the end of the pews on the side aisles. Please pass them toward the center aisle. Also, please know that we appreciate each and every one of you for your generosity in its many forms. Our offerings will now be gratefully received.
I invite us to have a time of quiet and meditation now. I'm not going to fill it with words. We'll just have like 2 or 3 minutes of quiet. But I do have a call and response that I'll sing to help us go together into the quiet. I'll sing it twice before and once afterwards. Now, I know there's at least one person here that knows this. I think of this as a meditation or a prayer, so please do not worry if you sing out loud and nobody else is singing because you got the timing wrong. Please don't worry about that. Call and response goes like this, so I sing this line. Be still and know that I am love. And you sing, be still and know that I am love. And then I sing, be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I Be still and know that Be still and know Be still and Be still. Be still. Be. Do it one more time and then we'll go into a few minutes of silence. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I Be still and know that Be still and know Be still and Be still and know that I am truth. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I hate. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Our reading today is from Lewis Carroll. I wonder if the snow loves the trees and fields, that it kisses them so gently. And then it covers them up, snug, with a white quilt. And perhaps it says, "Go to sleep, darlings, till the summer comes again." I wonder if the snow loves the trees and fields, that it kisses them so gently. And then it covers them up snug, with a white quilt. And perhaps it says, "Go to sleep, darlings, till summer comes again." When the trees rest, growing no leaves, gathering no light, what are we doing? When winter invites us into contemplation, setting a table with silence and starlight, let's ask ourselves, when the trees rest, growing no leaves, gathering no light, what are we doing? Are we attending to the miracle that is winter? Now, I have no business preaching today because I was catching a red-eye flight just 2 nights ago. Seriously sleep deprived. But I had to say yes because I love this topic so much. Wonder in winter. You don't need to be a young child to pick up that the magic is hanging thick in the air all around us in these last nights before the winter solstice on December 21st. Do you know Rainer Maria Rilke? Wonderful German poet. Here's some words from him. "You darkness that I come from, I love you more than all the fires that fence in the world. For the fire makes a circle of light for everyone, and then no one outside learns of you. But the darkness pulls in everything, shapes and fires, animals and myself. How easily it gathers them, powers and peoples. And is it possible that a great energy is moving near me? I have faith in nights." I used to live in Hubbard Park. I lived in the caretaker house with Lyndon over there. We lived with the caretaker and his lovely sweetheart. It was a magical place to live. Now, I'm sure most of you know Hubbard Park very well. It's your park. Now, if you're watching online and you're like, I've never heard of this place. In the middle of Montpelier, there's a wee gem just up behind the courthouse is this forest with all these trails in it. It's a magical place. Now, if you're going up towards the tower, but you don't drive up that fire road with the barrier, just before it, there's a little muddy trail through a valley that there's no snowmobile trails through there, and people don't walk that one. And if you go up that trail, there's rocks on the right. And my favorite place to go in the winter is under those rocks because there's frozen moss and 2-foot-long icicles If you snap them off and sit down and chew, you can kind of taste the rocks. If you don't crack your teeth. Here, in my mind, that I'm describing this place that I go when I've got all my snow gear on, it is cold. And I wonder, how on earth does life survive this? This is a place that I go to pray for people who are in great danger. The ancestors feel closer. Actually, everything invisible feels closer here. And perhaps it's because the sound is muffled. There's no rustling of leaves or traffic in the distance. The silence gets very loud. You know the way that the fluffy snow does that? Oh, I just love it. And as a result, I think my chit-chatty, very chipper mind is a bit quieter. My thoughts listen more. The day-to-day doesn't seem quite so important. Sometimes I create a little circle in the snow with little bits of moss and things, and I'll light Hanukkah candles, little Hanukkah beeswax candles for the people that I am praying for. Other times I just sit there. I sit there until it gets too cold or it's getting dark. I find winter, despite the harshness, to be the most holy time of the year. It's creative and expansive, and I'm able to rest, ponder, and concentrate beyond the day-to-day. Can some of you relate to my little holy place up in Hubbard Park? Yeah, you do the same. I thought so. The holiness of winter right there, finding a way to be among it. And ever since I was a wee kid, I've loved this time of solstice and Christmas, and that was cloaked in darkness, the lights on the Christmas tree. Coming home from school in Scotland, we had to wear these reflector things on our jacket because it was much further north, and it was gloaming, it was dark when we came out. And you'd wear these little things, you'd bundle up, and we had gloves or mittens on a string through your jacket. They were always like this. Yeah. I got distracted by my childhood there, excuse me. So much of this time of year was cloaked in darkness, but it felt very different than all the celebrations we'd just done in November. We have Guy Fawkes Day there, and you'd be outside and there'd be fireworks and hot thing called stovies, which is basically potatoes and gravy, and you'd be outside and there'd be fireworks. But around Christmas and solstice, it was much more magical. There was something about the darkness. It was incredibly powerful. This time that did split our pipes open last year on that cold, cold day. It can split rocks apart. How on earth do the wild turkeys and the coyotes and the wee chickadees, how on earth do they continue their ordinary lives? Remember, I grew up in Scotland. I didn't grow up in New England. I'm going to get to my first New England winter later. But I'm going to, before I go any further, I want to bring in a creation story from Judaism. Tikkun Olam, the repair of the world. Now, if nobody's ever come that's Jewish to teach you about Tikkun Olam as a congregation, it's a wonderful story that's infused with social justice that came out of around 500-600 years ago when Jewish culture was under the Spanish Inquisition and this creation myth surfaced. But it has a bit to say about holy darkness. I once heard Dr. Rachel Naomi Raymond in an On Being episode tell the story, and I wrote it down word for word. It was so good. She said, "In the beginning there was only holy darkness, the Ein Sof." It's a Hebrew word, Ein Sof, the source of life. And then in the course of history, at a moment in time, this world of 1,000 things emerged from the heart of this holy darkness as a great ray of light. And then perhaps because this is a Jewish story, there was an accident, and the vessels containing the light of the world, the wholeness of the world, broke. And the wholeness of the world, the light of the world, was scattered into 1,000 fragments of light. And they fell into all the events and people, and they remain deeply hidden there to this very day. Now, according to my grandfather, remember she's saying this, not me. According to my grandfather, the whole human race is a response to this accident. And that we're here because we are born with the capacity to find the hidden light in all the events and people. To lift it up, to make it visible once again, and thereby to restore the innate wholeness of the world. She continues, it's a very important story for our times, and the task is called Tikkun Olam in Hebrew, and it means restoration of the world. And this, of course, is a collective task. It involves all the people who have ever been born, all people presently alive, and everybody yet to be born. We are all healers of the world that touches us. That's where our power is. Now, it was only the very start that was relevant, but I couldn't not tell you the whole story that she shared. In the beginning is the holy darkness, the Ein Sof. The source of life. What is this holy darkness? This Ein Sof? I love that there was a word for it, because a lot of my concept growing up of darkness was about vacuums, and it was a frightening place. It wasn't a loving, life-giving burrow or womb. Now, I think I'm fascinated by the Ein Sof and this story because I think the cells in our bodies, in my body anyway, long to go home. There's a longing in us that I feel kindled and cuddled in winter, out surrounded by the fluffy snow, sitting in front of the hearth fire. My body knows something about this uncreated, loving darkness, the Ein Sof. And I have a hunch that winter is as close as we can get into this world to that uncreated place from where we came and to which we shall return. Now, this all started, this idea of mine about the holy darkness, because in 2009 I went to Maine to learn to be a boat building minister. That's another story. But I did. I went to apprentice with the only boat building minister I'd ever met, called Bobby Ives. And I'm from Scotland. In Scotland, winter is about sideways rain. It stays about freezing. Goes up above during the day with a lot of wind and just a little bit below at night time. I'd never had a New England winter, and everybody told me it was going to be terrible, and people were knitting me mittens that were double mittens. It wasn't just one pair of mittens, it was two. And people giving me clothes and asking me if I was prepared and beginning to scare me. I was like, what is this going to be like? Meanwhile, we're like cutting off cedar branches and placing them around the basement of the house, and people have slid off the road and totally trashed their car, and there's snow plows, and it was quite frightening because of what people were saying about it. It was also a difficult time in my life. I was there to rebuild. I called it my Arctic winter. And I was having a bit of a faith crisis in that in my year of grief and in the previous years, I really believed that there was a companioning presence deep in the heart of me. When I lived in an abbey, and we used to say that God's goodness is planted more deeply than all that is wrong. And I really believed that there was this inner compass that was urging me on and telling me to start over, to keep going, to rebuild my life. But I'm at a place now that I'm beginning to really doubt that. I'm seeing a lot of poverty and cruelty in the world, and I'm wondering, maybe there's no purpose to it. Maybe all this is just very random. And I remember sitting there at my little window. I was in a wee place secluded in the woods. And it started to snow. We'd been sent home early because the snowstorm was coming. Here was the snowstorm. I find my way home, I bundle up, I'm all alone. And it's the most gentle, wonderful thing. I'm not driving anywhere. I'm just sitting, watching the world get cloaked in snow. And there's a little squirrel that used to be just outside the window. It had a little nest in the hollow of a tree. And I've watched this squirrel many times, a dozen times, but this day, all of a sudden, I had a stark aha moment. Martin Luther King said, only when it's dark enough can you see the stars. I knew that. But here I was looking at only when it's cold enough does Mother Nature change water, the source of life, into this protective blanket. Programmed into the seasons and the fabric of life, which is water, is this protective layer where Mother Nature makes sure that that wee squirrel was going to be okay. Now, if you're used to it, it probably doesn't seem like an aha, but I'm Scottish, and I was like, oh my God, it's going to get harsher and harsher. And then all of a sudden, life is protected by Mother Nature itself. I was astonished by this, and I've never really recovered. I still take delight in this. I wonder if the snow loves the trees and feels that it kisses them so gently, and then covers them up snug, you know, with a white quilt, perhaps saying, go to sleep, darlings, till the summer comes again. In the midst of all that is wrong, something is working to nurture and protect life. I'm going to sing. I was going to save this till last, but I want to sing it now. I'm not quite ready to leave the snow scene. We need to linger for a little moment longer. You'll know this is Stopping by Wood, Robert Frost poem, but it was set to music by a guy in Maine called Judd Caswell. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake on the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. But the only other sound's the sweep of easy wind on downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Jung says that we don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light. We become enlightened by making the darkness conscious. Solstice isn't about light triumphing over darkness. That's really bad theology. It's the thinking that fuels religion to be patriarchal and racist and colonizing. There's so much more that we don't know. Father Richard Rohr says the second half of life is about unlearning your religion, unlearning it. There's so much more that we have to learn. And we learn it by unlearning. We need to expand beyond binary. You guys are my people, you know what I'm talking about. Language will evolve to make space for everyone. Einstein said that the answers to our problems are not found at the same level of thinking that created them in the first place. The answers to our problems are found at a deeper or more expansive way of thinking, where the new solutions and the new ways can find us, and I am sure Mother Nature is working within us to help us. So this year, I encourage us, first of all, to really let our white winter diversify and do a better job of honouring the holy darkness in our religion, but also to really, as individuals, soak into listening. Here's what Wendell Berry says. I love this. Don't you love Wendell Berry? Go into the dark. To go into the dark with the light is to know the light. To know the dark, go without sight, and find that the dark too blooms and sings and is travelled by dark feet and dark wings. So I invite you to do what I did. Go up to Hubble Park all bundled up and find a little alcove under a rock out of the wind and sit. You don't have to chew on the icicle, that's my thing. If you're not so mobile or you can't cope with the cold, maybe sit with the quiet. My favourite time is after everybody in the household, Lyndon and the dogs have gone to bed. I'll sit by the fire and just have the firelight and listen to the day and the soul and my soul, not filling it up with thoughts. I'm a nighttime person, I'd say. Or if you're somebody that wants a more active practice, there's a wonderful thing that Steiner taught. It's called the 12 Holy Nights, and it starts on Christmas Eve. And for the next 12 nights, you tap into what he called the energy of the angels circling the globe. That it's a holy time. And the practice is that you reflect on last January, and you plan for this coming January. That's what you do at sundown on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Day, you go to February, you reflect on your life last February, and plan for this February. And you go through all the 12 holy nights, really deeply taking stock and listening into your own life. Let's take these ideas and affirm them in song. I've got a song that you've probably not come across before. So I invite you to stand, if you're able. And I'll sing it through a few times. I think it'll appear on the wall. I hope it will. It's called The Old Astronomer. It's about Galileo. No? Maybe there we go. Though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. I have loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night. Fearful of the night. I'll sing it often, so don't worry. Though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. I have loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night. Fearful of the night. Though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. I have loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night, fearful of the night. Though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. I have loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night, fearful of the night. One more time. Though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. I have loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night, fearful of the night.
As we extinguish our chalice, let us say together our mission as found in the order of service.
Your mic's not on.
Oh.
There we go. Great.
There. Thank you. We're going to say our mission statement together. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home.
Sacred mystery. Sacred mystery, you graced earth with your seasons. to call your creation into rhythms of flowering and fruitfulness, but also rest and release. Help us to surrender to winter's invitation to slow down, to listen, to lie fallow, to just be. Abide with us in the holy darkness as our certainties and securities come undone, and the stars pulse across the night sky. Sustain us as we gestate new possibilities, hidden and unseen to us like tiny seeds, preparing to flourish into fullness. Embrace us as we rest our bodies, hearts, minds, and spirits, and discover again the goodness of sleep, dreaming and slowness. How letting go our need for answers allows us to ponder beautiful questions. Bless the season of the dark so we might be transformed and renewed, ready when spring comes, to bring to birth your love, to shower it generously everywhere we go. Amen. Thank you for listening. And because I signed my postlude, I'll have to sing something else. This is the song that I'm writing right now. It's the words tweaked of a saint who survived the Spanish Inquisition. She was a converted family, Jewish family. She was enormously successful and a very powerful woman. So you can imagine that the Spanish Inquisition were after her. She survived it. And when she died, this is Saint Teresa of Avila, just in case you wonder, who's he talking about? Yeah, she lived in Spain 500 years ago. And when she died, she had a little prayer written in her own hand in the book that she was reading. This is my saying of it. Let nothing disturb you, let nothing frighten you, everything changes, I alone remain. Hold patience, for nothing is wasted, presence in all things, with you in all things. Let nothing disturb you, let nothing frighten you, everything changes, I alone remain. Hold patience, for nothing is wasted, presence in all things, with you in all things. If you want to sing it with me, we're only going to sing it 2 more times, so just jump in. Let nothing disturb you, let nothing frighten you, everything changes, I alone remain. Hold patience, for nothing is wasted, presence in all things, with you in all things. Let nothing disturb you, let nothing frighten you, everything changes, I alone remain. Hold patience, for nothing is wasted, presence in all things, with you in all things. Be well.
What a wonderful service. Thank you for being here.